he never preached that action is all about roughness and toughness. He always said, even when we became actors, right, and if we had to do some action sequence or something, he was like, always understand that it comes from an emotion. And emotion means vulnerability. Watching, and we grew up believing in heroes, and we grew up believing in, and when I say heroes, I just don't mean male-led heroes, right? I also mean a Mother India. Me and Vicky would be constantly at each other's throat, but out to the outside world, we were what?
Yeah.
We still are. So growing up, he had a lot of patience for a lot of things, and I was the naughtier one, right? I was very impulsive. But yeah, you understand a lot when women feel that they can share something with you. So I have that relationship with my mother. When you hear them talk and when you hear what makes them feel unsafe, subconsciously it starts affecting you, right? And then it's like, so the next time you are in a social situation, you know what not to do.
Yeah.
The topic of patriarchy is really difficult to have a debate on, it's because there are years of conditioning, years and years of conditioning and to break it suddenly is very difficult for somebody. So I can't really compare Mom and Katrina that way, right? Because they both come from very different worlds. They both have seen very different worlds. The beach there was a lot of talk, women-led roles, and female. And I get it. I get why that conversation happens. But then I was like, but why can't we see it as characters?
Being a 90s kid, I have grown up seeing the image of masculinity being defined by the roughness and toughness of the man. But I think this generation of actors has kind of redefined that image and made a new one. And my next guest has been a front runner in that league. Be it with his styling, be it with the way he carries himself, he has always redefined what a MenZ should be. And even though he doesn't consider himself to be a part of Gen Z, I know he is. So let me welcome my next guest on Bollywood Bubble in a special show, MenZ, Sunny Kaushal. So Sunny, welcome to Bollywood Bubble firstly.
Thank you so much, Akash, for having me here. It's a pleasure.
And yes, you are Gen Z. I have said it,
okay,
I have
fine.
declared
If you say it, I am Gen Z.
Yeah, the show is all about masculinity and what it means today.
Yeah.
I want to start by asking, growing up, you had a father who was an action director.
Yeah.
And action is all about that roughness and toughness. Yeah. Was the same image he brought home when he came, and the kind of image of masculinity you grew up seeing?
No, so very interestingly, he never preached that action is all about roughness and toughness. He always said, even when we became actors, right, and if we had to do some action sequence or something, he was like, always understand that it comes from an emotion. And emotion means vulnerability, right? So growing up, that's what, even when he was sitting for, say, discussions or, charting out action sequences, he would always try and understand where is this coming from. Like if the character has to hit somebody, that means he's really angry. That means he's hurt. So what is it that has hurt him? What is it that he's trying to protect, he or she? So he would always say, just try and understand where the emotion is coming from, right? So that for him and me also is vulnerability. So that kind of very subconsciously seeded the fact that it's okay to be vulnerable. If you have to be powerful, if you have to protect something, that's what power is, right? It innately comes from love and trying to protect something, trying to protect somebody. You have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. You cannot be closed. So that's what masculinity was for me,
And also I'm sure you must have gone on sets with him sometimes.
Yeah, very rarely actually, very rarely.
But when you see the heroes there, because since he was the action director, you must have seen him do action. Telling them the kind of image you see there of heroes, did that ever influence you of how you should be or how you should be as a man?
No, yeah, not at all. Because the fact that we went on sets, actually, I can count on my fingers. I went on set 3 times, right, with him. But the fact that we knew, okay, this is filming, this is make-believe. So that never influenced us. We knew that, okay, if we are say, एक तो बचपन में क्या character portrayal क्या करने का वो उतना idea ही नहीं होता था that okay they're portraying a character because it used to be action cut and then again action cut and we were like, okay, what is happening? Why are they doing the same thing again and again? So there was a huge disconnect between what is happening, knowing that this is not real, and then understanding, okay, what is reality and how people function in real life. So that never kind of influenced me. Yes, we were very attached to films. We still do, and by we I mean me and Vicky. I always talk like that. So it's in our blood. We are a part of the industry as well, right? So we grew up watching, and we grew up believing in heroes, and we grew up believing in and when I say heroes, I just don't mean male-led heroes, right? I also mean a Mother India. Right, so I'm saying, but we grew up believing that, okay, you know, this is how you can conduct yourself as well. So it never kind of influenced us in a way कि नहीं यार ये ना ऐसे ही hero है, ऐसे ही करने का, and you know this is how it should be. To be powerful, you have to beat up somebody. That's not what we believe. We knew that, okay, this is choreographed. This is for entertainment purpose.
You mentioned Vicky, na? Like I have a sister, elder sister, so I know there's certain softness that comes with it, because you also learn and you also see and observe how your sister is. You had an elder brother. So that also influences a lot, that also changes a lot. Were there people around you? I know in the family, like as you said, Sham sir brought a lot of vulnerability to you, but were there people around who were telling you like, this is how brothers should be, this is how you should be, like protective of each other and be like the whole rough and tough kind of image?
No, I don't think there were people telling us how brothers should be. I think it's such a, how do I put it? How do I explain the bond that we share? Okay, so the thing is now, my parents, both mom and dad, my dad has a younger brother. And we've grown up seeing how they are with each other, right? My mom, they are 5 brothers and sisters. And we have grown up seeing how they are with each other, right? So nobody comes and teaches you कि अरे तू भाई है तो ऐसा कर. You know, in fact, we would say, मैं भाई हूँ, मुझे पता है कैसे करना. You know, don't try and teach me what to do. So you grew up watching your parents, you grew up exploring your own interpersonal relationship with your sibling. And it's like over a period of time, you know what works for you, you know what doesn't work. And it's a very subconscious behavioral thing, you know. And yes, we are very protective of each other, coming to that. And that nobody taught us. That we just knew that if we have to be in a group, right, of say, when you're kids, it's like boys are playing here, girls are playing here, and then after a point you start merging into into one group. But when it was that, you know, that we are in a group and it's just boys and we are playing, say, cricket or we are playing football or something, we knew that we have to stick with each other, right? So, and that comes very naturally. That के अगर मुझे किसी ने कुछ बोल दिया, then he would stand up for me. अगर उसे किसी ने कुछ बोल दिया तो I would stand up for him. And that's a very normal thing, because you understand that, okay, at the end of the day, you're one blood. So even if you fight, like there was a very interesting incident where Chor police खेलते थे हम लोग बचपन में. So me and Vicky were in opposite teams, okay, and it was very funny and me and Vicky ended up having an argument on something, right? So and since we are brothers, we understand each other's language, right? So we were having an argument, and like a full heated argument, and we're kids, like hardly 11, 12 years old or something. So we're having a full heated argument, and he kind of like pushed me up, "Arey tu ja, arey tu ye kya bol raha hai," and everything. And I don't know from where some other guy comes, and he just kind of, he had a feeling that, okay, a fight has started, and he pat karke slapped me. And Vicky lost it. Vicky was like, he's held him by the collar. He's like, मैं उसका भाई हूँ, मैं धक्का मार सकता हूँ, तू कौन होता है उसे मारने वाला? So you know, that's a very simple example of the relationship we shared. That we would be at each other's throat. Me and Vicky would be constantly at each other's throat. But out to the outside world, we were what? We still are.
So I feel like चोर निकल के भागा की preparation वहाँ से start हो गई थी थोड़ी.
और बचपन में तो ये सब छोटी-मोटी चीजें होती रहती है.
But like you look up to your elder sibling, whoever they are, like be it a brother or a sister, you always. What were those qualities of Vicky that you kind of admired and you felt like maybe this is I should also imbibe in myself?
I think he has a lot of patience. Growing up, he was the one who would understand the gravity of a situation and would kind of give it action, you know, then would implement it in life. I didn't understand that much, and also because he was the elder brother, what happens with an older brother is that the moment a younger sibling is born, you just, no matter how young you are, you become the older person, right? Then you have responsibilities, you are expected to understand stuff and do things on your own, and so and it's a very natural thing. It mostly happens in every household. So he had growing up, he had a lot of patience for a lot of things, and I was the naughtier one, right? I was very impulsive till very recently. I think it's just age that kind of molds you in a certain way, but till my college and my teenage and everything, I was the impulsive kid. It's like if I felt like doing something, I would do it without thinking about the consequences, right? So I think I kind of, and I would never understand growing up, why is he so patient? Like I would feel like, but you should do na what you feel like doing. It's okay, देखा जाएगा बाद में जो होगा. It's only growing up, after I grew up and I watched him and I was like, okay, this is what it is, and now I understand what patience is. So I think that's what I kind of understood from him.
Yeah, I think that is every elder and younger sibling, because
Correct.
Even I have gotten frustrated with my sister's patience at times. There was a time we had a bad fight because of it. I was like, react, why are you not reacting to it?
Correct.
And I'm like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like he still has that patience, and that has imbibed in you, and your naughtiness is imbibed in him.
That is true.
Is very
no,
visible.
he's also very fun-loving and naughty,
Yeah.
but it's just that he, there is
Obviously,
one side which is
equation,
more and the other. Yeah.
But like, how did your evolution occurred in the sense of how you perceived what a man should be, or what masculinity represents, or what manhood actually stands for?
I don't know. I think it's partly, obviously it comes from family. So it's partly family, it's partly, actually I would attribute majority of learning of how man should be in terms of treating a woman, I would say would come from my college days. Because I had out of 5 friends, there were 4 that were girls. So I hung out a lot with girls in terms of just being friends, right? So that kind of influences you. So when you hear them talk and when you hear what makes them feel unsafe, to say, in a society, so you subconsciously, it starts affecting you, right? And then it's like, so the next time you are in a social situation, you know what not to do.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the majority of it while I was in my college or something, but otherwise it's like my mom. She would always teach us right from wrong, and I have 2 beautiful masis who were there when we were growing up, and I have cousins, so yeah, I mean it's not a very easy question to answer. There's no one answer, but it's just this is what I can think of. It's these people. And it mostly comes from a female energy that teaches you how to behave, right? It teaches you what to do, what not to do, and so I would say that.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And I was gonna get to that how has the kind of the female energy in your life has influenced that, be it your mother, your masis, as you said, and now even Katrina for that matter, she has entered your family. And so how have their kind of life, their challenges, and the way situations they are facing, how does that kind of influences you?
See, the thing is, I mean, there's no single answer to that question, so I'm trying to form it in my head. How does that influence you? See, that's what I'm saying. It's ek to what an individual person goes through and what the other person learns from it is a very second-hand thing. Till I don't go through it, I will not understand what exactly is happening. I can only have a notion of it. And I can put 2 and 2 together and say, okay, this is happening, this is how I should be, right? But yeah, you understand a lot when women feel that they can share something with you. So I have that relationship with my mother. My mom shares a lot with me, whether whether she's really happy about something, whether she's really sad about something, whether something that I did or anybody else has hurt her, or something that we did made her extremely happy, made her extremely proud. So me and mom have that relationship that we would sit, and it is genuinely like that raat ko khana wana kha ke, there are times where everybody has gone off to sleep, but me and mom are chatting at the couch. So, so I have that, and it's just, that's what I'm saying, it's difficult to answer this question is because a lot has to do with hearing. A lot has to do with listening rather than doing something actually, So I would say, I would say that it's just the fact that a lot has been shared with me and I have listened to a lot of stuff kind of forms your opinions and how you should behave in a society,
Let me tell you, you might be finding it difficult to put it, but you have put it very beautifully, because this is something even I have observed, that we have grown up seeing that the man is supposed to have the savior complex, that you have to be the savior of the woman.
Correct.
You have to kind of protect them. You have to be there for them. You have to earn for the house and everything. And that savior complex kind of builds in.
Yeah.
That's where you stop listening somewhere, because your mind is how you can actually do, rather than listening to the problems.
Absolutely. Savior complex is something that I've... See, I'll tell you what. So if you go into... I might be saying a lot more than what I actually know. But if you actually go into how our DNAs are built, right? Right from when we were hunter-gatherers and this and that. Which I think that's where the savior complex comes from, is because when we were in the wild, men were out protecting women. Women used to hunt as well, take care of the food, the baby, the family and everything. I think वो सब सुन के और देख के ना हमको लगता है कि आज के ज़माने में भी वो इम्प्लाई होता है. But ऐसा नहीं है. It's not always that necessary. So I think, and that's where the savior complex also comes from. The fact that we always have been, by we I mean men, and we've seen that, okay, men have been this and men have gone to war and men have won war and there have been kings and king makers, and hardly do you hear of women. So when you hear of women, like, okay, oh, there was a woman, there was a queen who led a war, and you go like, wow, what are you saying, really? But that's okay. I mean, that. So I'm saying savior complex probably comes from there, and it's very difficult to unlearn it also. You have to understand, because it's a generational conditioning.
Yeah.
It's only now because we have phones and so much learning and globalization, and we instantly know what's happening there and opinions about things from people across the globe, that we are able to make and break our opinions and how we think and how we act in a society so quickly. But it's not so otherwise. It is a generational conditioning, and it's to know, like, that's what I say, the talk about patriarchy, the topic of patriarchy is really difficult to have a debate on, because we might feel ke, but aisa to nahi hona chahiye, aisa kaise, why don't they understand? But the fact that they don't is the reality, is because of a generational conditioning. It's because there are years of conditioning, years and years of conditioning, that, and to break it suddenly is very difficult for somebody. It's like you tell me today that I believe in something, and suddenly tomorrow somebody comes and tells me, no, but that's wrong. Yeah. Change it. Right? But how? How do I change it overnight? First of all, though, to understand what is happening and your point of view, I will take time. And then to imply it and to act it out, that will take time. Yeah. So, that is I think it's a big debate.
True. But like, as you said, you speak a lot to your mother, and you have always been close to her that way. Today, when you maybe speak to Katrina, and they are from two different generations, when you see them talk about the challenges they are facing or the difficulties they are facing, do you subconsciously see a similarity in the kind of treatment that women had in that generation and even today, somewhere?
So I can't really compare mom and Katrina that way, because mom की ना दुनिया बहुत छोटी सी रही है. Mom की दुनिया was very limited to me, Vicky, dad, her siblings, and so she would find happiness in that, and she still does. So उनकी दुनिया उतनी सी है, whereas Katrina has, because of the work that she does, and it's in any profession, right? For us also, because you travel so much, you meet so many people, there is, so comparing their thing will not be the ideal answer in this situation, right? Because they both come from very different worlds, they both have seen very different worlds. And to say that, okay, are there any similarities? I don't know. Like that's my answer. I really do not know, because when you're sitting and when you're hearing them talk, your mind doesn't go like, oh, what are the similarities? Let me see if if the difficulties that they faced in life have any similar. You don't think like that, right? So for me, I will not be. I'm incapable of answering that question
No, I get
right now. So
I get it. But also when you evolve now, you have also evolved in the terms of let's say fashion. That the kind of dress now outfits you wear, because there was a time when
like this
men
topic.
were supposed to wear only tuxes and suits when they're going to formal events, and then if you are at a casual event, shirts or t-shirt and jeans. Today men actually experiment with it.
Absolutely.
Where did you kind of start to have that courage to kind of go and delve into that experimenting?
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot. Because for me as well, like this is, I tell you, this is the first shirt I have wore that is a little bit designer touch rather than a very simple one.
Yeah.
So where did that courage kind of came from? Where did that inspiration kind of came from?
I don't know, yeah. I frankly do not know. I think it's a very interesting question actually, because I've never actively thought about it. But yeah, it probably came. I was growing up. I was very fashion forward. Growing up, I was one of those kids who would go into a store. बचपन में क्या होता था, दिवाली की शॉपिंग होती थी या बर्थडे की शॉपिंग होती थी, करेक्ट? कि आपने दिवाली में नए कपड़े खरीद लिया या तो बर्थडे में नए कपड़े खरीद लिए, ठीक है? और वो क्या होता था कि तुम्हारे फ्रेंड सर्कल में तुम्हें पता होता था कि भाई ये चल रहा है, like these are the kind of denims that is going on trending right now, these are the kind of t-shirts that are trending right now. So I was one of those kids who would get into a store and ask them what else is there. Like I would be like कि हाँ ये तो है, ये तो ठीक है, ये तो trending है, ये this is the safe option, right? This is what if I buy, I'll be one of the cool kids, I'll be one of the pack, right? But let me see what else is there. What if there is something else? What if I introduce something else to the group and they go like, ये किधर से आया?
Stand out.
हाँ, so you know, I was one of those kids, and so I think that kind of translated when I was growing up into college as well. That happened. Then obviously film industry. So when you come into this industry, it's such a fashion-forward industry. Anyway, you see your peers, you see people around you dressing in a certain way, blending masculinity, femininity together in fashion and everything else. So I was like, okay, let me try it out. You know, it was about trying it out, which is why I tried it out. But I still believe that if it's a black tie event, you wear a tux. You don't mess around with a tux. A tux is a tux.
Yeah. वो तो है. When it's a क्या कहते हैं उसको, black tie.
Black tie event.
Black tie, you
like if in an invitation it's mentioned black tie event, you wear a tux.
You wear a tux. But no, the experimenting also looks very good on you.
Yeah, like I love jewelry.
Yeah.
I love jewelry. So I like doing that, like, you know, chains and anguti and everything. I like earpiece and also I try wearing them.
There was a time when that was considered taboo for men.
Yeah.
Like people, men wouldn't even touch it, let alone even think about using that. There's a sense of, I think, security that needs to be today in men. And that reflects in your choice of work as well, because you have done films like Mili. Yeah. And there's Chor, Nikal, Bhaga, where people can say that it's being led by women.
Women, yes.
And you have been secure enough to choose those films. Where does that security comes from?
Because I don't think of it in terms of women or men. It's characters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a very conscious decision. It's because I suddenly, one day, you know, the beach mein there was a lot of talk, oh, women-led roles, and female. And I get it. I get why that conversation happens. But then I was like, but why can't we see it as characters? This is a character. It's a female character. It's a male character. It can be led by anybody, or even a you know, LGBTQ character. It could be anything, you know. So it's about emotions. A characterization is not defined by not predominantly defined by whether you're a male or a female or someone else. It is defined by your choices. It is defined by your emotions. It is defined by what happens to you in a story, right? So which is why that happened. So when I came across Mili, Boni sir called me and he said, "Beta, क्या कर रहा है आजकल?" I said, "कुछ नहीं sir, आप बोलो." He's like, "आजा मिलने आजा." मैंने कहा ठीक है. So he's like, "Okay, this is the film, and it's a remake of Helen, and this is the director. He's going to be directing the film, Mathur sir. And तू एक बार film देख ले and you tell me whether you want to be a part of it, because it's ideally the girl's film. It's Helen, and in Hindi we are naming it Mili, and Janvi is a part of it, and it's ideally. So I said, okay, sir. But when I saw the film, I was like, it's such a beautiful survival story. It's such a beautiful story about relationships, about how easily we think, about the father and the boy, how the relationship changes in the film. And so I was like, man, this is beautiful. Yaar. I want to be a part of good stories, so why not be a part of it, That's how I was a part of Mili. Chor, Nikal ke Bhaga. I was like, this is so cool. This is such a cool concept where you feel that, okay, bro, this guy is like, so in love with this girl, only to realize that he's been using her and उसी का कट्टा हो जाता है फिल्म में कि I said, as an audience, I would love to watch something like this, that you feel that he's a positive guy and then you know that he's a negative guy and then to see him suffer. I said, that's amazing. Like as an audience, I would feel like ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. Satisfaction कितनी मिलती है. So I was like, great, then let me portray that. Now let me give it to the audience.
And call it coincidence, like I don't review much, but both these films I have reviewed.
You have? Chalo, good. I hope I'm going to check the reviews.
Yeah, I have given 4 stars to both.
Oh, that's
you
great.
I can proudly say that. Also, like Mili had a little connection to me as well because my sister's name is Mili.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Super.
So, मेरे को वो भी था. But actually, when you have security as an actor, when you don't see it as male or female dominated or anything, that reflects in the role because you stood out on those films, and stood out is not कि you were better than everyone or
Correct.
no, but your character isn't something you can ignore, or your portrayal is something that someone can just pass through by and can't acknowledge that. That I think reflects in the security as well. But like going forward, you have some exciting projects in the pipeline.
Yeah.
One of them I know is Shiddat 2 because that was announced at Jio Wala launch. Other than that, I don't know. But how's the future lineup looking for you?
It's great. It's great, yeah. Right now, again, I'm a part of Phir Aayi Haseen Dilruba, which is with Taapsee and Vikrant. Then there is a film called Thank You, Mr. Khanna, which is a beautiful mother and son story. That's with Neetu ji.
Yeah, I remember it.
So that's a beautiful film that I'm really proud of. And then there is Phir Aayi Haseen Dilruba I told you about, which is very different, which is something that came to me and I could not say no. I was like, ये तो करना ही है, ये अगर मैंने छोड़ दिया, ये किसी कारणवश नहीं हो पाई ना, तो ये गलत हो जाए. So that I'm very excited about. It's very new.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, the film with Thank You, Mr. Khanna, with Mr. or Mrs. Khanna?
Mr. Khanna.
Mr. Khanna, yeah. So that film with Neetu ma'am, like you said you are so close to your mother.
Yeah.
And then to have a mother-son.
That's exactly why I did it. So I heard the film and Milind Daimade, our director, he was narrating the film to me and I said, sir, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I went home and mom was like, so usually, घर पे जाके ये होता है कि अच्छा, how was the narration and what is the film about? And you talk about the film. This film, I didn't say anything about it. I was like, I'm not going to say anything. All I want you to know is that I'm doing this film for you.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Tell me something. I was like, no, I'm not going to tell you. You watch the film. It's like my letter to you. It's that's what it is. And it's a beautiful mother and son story.
And I'm sure it's gonna be. But like after Vicky's wedding, is it you and Vicky pranking Katrina or Katrina or you milke pranking?
Arey, nobody pranks anybody, yaar.
Arey yaar, I think you three are such fun people. You should do that often.
Yeah, but we don't keep pranking. ऐसा थोड़ी ना होता है.
No, obviously not keep pranking.
Let's prank each other.
No, not keep pranking, but yeah. There's at some point, one of my colleagues.
No, but it's actually then me and Katrina ganging up against him in a conversation.
Okay, so now we are gonna have you give us it's like a MenZ guide. Okay, for men to follow. So, firstly, one toxic masculinity trait that you can't stand.
I would say misogyny.
A casual misogynistic trait that you see around you often.
Casual misogynistic मतलब कैसा करने का अभी? I don't know, yaar. I really can't. I'll have to think of that answer. A casual misogynistic trait.
Yeah, it could be like something like mansplaining, or it could be just.
Mansplaining is a different concept. Let's not get into it because I'll have polarizing views about it. So, I don't know. We'll get to it.
Yeah, okay. An incident in your life where you realized that you were somewhere being a bit misogynistic and then you kind of worked towards changing that.
In college, definitely in college somewhere, because when you're fresh out of puberty and you are with a group of guys and everything. So I don't remember a incident, but yeah, I remember being schooled by a girl in my college canteen about something that kind of changed my perception. That was the start of my, it's not how it is. You know, you have to think from the other side as well.
I think college teaches you a lot.
A lot.
Because one of my friends also, like before that, I had never spoken about periods to any girl. Only my sister was always like, you should talk about it. But when I went to college, my friends were like, you should talk about it. You should not. And that kind of changed me as well. And I think college does that. 3 qualities a MenZ should have.
3 qualities of MenZ should. I think vulnerability, discipline. I can think of 2 right now.
Okay, we will take 2. An advice you would give to MenZ.
I don't know, man. I'm still learning. I don't know what advice I can give to MenZ. I think it's a.
I think the advice could be keep learning.
I think the advice could be keep learning, keep listening.
Keep listening, I think, is the most important one. An artist, according to you, who stands for a true MenZ.
I don't know. I would say Ranveer. I would say Vicky, but since I know him very closely, but if not Vicky, then it's Ranveer. Yeah.
Okay. What it means to be a man from Gen Z too?
Man, can I be very honest right now? I don't know. I don't know because I really, it's such a fast moving world right now that you have to keep your ears open, your eyes open, and just your brains open to understand everything and to not judge. So I would say, yeah, it's to not judge things or people like this.
And I think that's the beauty of it, when you accept that you don't know about it, because you are only kind of learning and figuring things out as you go. Lastly, react to these misogynistic statements. Okay. Men should earn more than women.
Why?
True?
No, not true.
Like, no, true as in why?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
Why? Obviously.
How does it matter?
Either of them can earn.
Yeah.
Girls shouldn't talk to strange men.
I think nobody should talk to strange people. It's not about girls or guys, man. Just you should. I mean, just as a safety thing. If you're in a crowded train, and if a person you don't know, you have never seen that person, is trying to be extra friendly, you should just be like, that's great. Yeah, it should. Men, women doesn't matter. Just do.
Okay. Women should be homemakers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a home is made by both men and women.
Equal contribution.
Yeah.
Raising kids is a women's responsibility.
Oh no, not at all. It's not just a women's responsibility, and I think this concept is long dead.
Yeah.
As I see around me, and everybody knows and understands that it's not just a women's job.
Lastly, women are supposed to keep the family together.
नहीं यार. I mean, ये सबका question नहीं होगा ना, because how does keeping a family together का responsibility fall on just women? I mean, that's like, it's equally on children also.
Yeah, it's on everyone.
It's on
that's
husbands, it's on women.
Oh,
already. Oh yeah, that's how you started.
Yeah, and that is the thing, na, ki, we don't see it around us often because the things are changing gradually, but somewhere these things still exist.
No, I'm sure. That's what I'm saying. That's where we get into the discussion of patriarchy.
Yeah. I have to say, it has been a pleasure talking to you, Sunny.
Same here, Akash. It was amazing.
Our first chat, and I think it's an auspicious start, and we are going to have some more entertaining and researched and deep chats, I'm sure.
Yes,
because I think I want to have that kind of conversations with you, and I'm sure we are going to get that chance soon. And thank you so much for being a part of MenZ.
It was a pleasure.
You actually represent what a true MenZ stand for, and wishing you lots and lots of love and luck for everything you do. Thank you for being a part of this, and hope you had a good time, because I had a fantastic time. Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Sunny Kaushal, and you are watching me on Bollywood Bubble.